They know more than what the teacher knows. If you see the today's generation, they have very less patience. People are not into the teaching professions now.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to Principal Voice Matters. Today, we are going to discuss a topic that is becoming increasingly important in education, and which is experiential learning. And to discuss that, we are joined by Ms. Shiva Thapar, who is the founder director of Secret Step Experiential Learning School. In the name itself, it is experiential learning. So thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out the time and to join the discussion. And I'm hoping a lots of principal who are going to, or the parents or the audience who are going to listen this podcast, they'll get a lots of things to which can be implemented in their own venture itself. So once again, thank you so much for joining, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ruby. It's such a pleasure to be a part of this, meeting, and I look forward for, more of ideas and, sharing my inputs, whatever I've learned, because it's been 30 years that I've been now associated with the education sector, working across all age groups from, tiny tots till grade 12th. So it's indeed a pleasure to be a part of this discussion. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let's start with our first question. Actually, it is not the kind of question, it is the more about is the conversations we are going to do, and we are going to learn a lot from you. So the first I want to know from you, ma'am, before we talk about experiential learning, I would love to understand your perspective, like what made you believe that learning should go beyond textbook and classrooms?
See, when we were in school, I still remember, around in the era of around 90. So I think that was a time when we were in school, we used to see that there are a lot of books coming in, there are a lot of talk and talk methodology which is there. And so we were into that mode, our generation was there to listen to what the teachers are saying. Now, with times, I think that methodology need to change, because what I feel is the children of today's era, the alpha Gen Zs, they should be able to, they know it more than us. First of all, there is so much exposure that they already have got through media, through the television, through the mobiles, through the YouTubes. So they know more than what the teacher knows. So, and they are very inquisitive to ask questions. They are not the type of students that we were a little hesitant to ask questions to our teachers. So they need to know why they are learning if we are teaching them a particular topic. So I think the best way to teach them is that they learn how they are doing things. So that is what the experiential learning is all about, that we need to give them a lot of exposure to make them understand and know and tell them, why we are learning a particular thing. And the moment we give them hands-on learning things, I think they are able to engage themselves. They are able to learn in a much better way that a textbook or maybe a talk and talk methodology would do. So I feel that's the reason that we've come up with experiential learning concept, because experiential is all about the experience. It's all about learning by doing. So keeping that concept in mind, that we thought that, we set up schools wherein we can give them different zones. For example, let's say if we are talking about a traffic symbol, a traffic signages, rules in the, how they can incorporate and become better citizens. So I think it's better we give them an exposure of a traffic park. So that's what we do. This is just an example. So we have a lot of cycles. We have the working model of the red light there. We have a zebra crossing. We have all the signages in exactly the same copy that they find outside when their fathers or their mothers, parents are driving. So that they are able to imbibe right from the early years, So we teach them a topic, okay, apart from the red light, these are the different things that you need to follow. So I think keeping that in mind, they are able to learn in a better way. We could have done it with a textbook, but then I don't think so that would be more interesting for them, because they also look forward that, their attention span is very small. They have very less patience if you see the today's generation. So we need to engage them in a way that they are also happy to learn it. So these are the only things that made me build up these two preschools that we have in Gurgaon, and we have all the elements that a child requires for learning. It is all kind of developments that we are doing, maybe fine motor skill, the gross motor, the cognitive development, the language development, the socio emotional development, which is very very much required. Somehow was missed when we were in school. Now it's more of post COVID era, where they were all been brought up in an era where they were not connected with children. And also with the media, I feel that that connect, the bond is somehow missed, because they want to be loners. They want to just have a phone in their hand, maybe sit alone in front of a TV and watch. Maybe because of time, I feel that parents do not have that much engaging time with the students. When I talk about my parents, they do have, when I was small, I used to see my mom coming at around 2, my father and mother cooking together in the kitchen. With the working hours that we have, with the kind of nuclear family systems, I feel that parents are all engaged with their work mode. They have very very little time. So I think the children are also been brought up in few homes, by their nannies. So engaging that socio emotional, connect with each other is so very important, because that builds up the whole personality, that builds up the entire, how they are interacting, how they are connected, and how they are de-stressed. Because I feel being a loner is so much, why we are looking across in the news, that there's so much pressure, there's so many things that these teenagers are unable to cope up. I think talking is the best method, which is what we have, a lot of socio emotional engaging activities amongst the children here in our school. So I feel that's what this young generation is looking forward for in schools. They need to be first very happy to come. I mean, they should not be forced to come to school, and that happiness factor would come when the schools are more engaging, when the schools give them a lot of opportunities, that they enjoy meeting each other, they enjoy the meals together. Because I feel even in the home, sometimes people are eating, the parents are eating at different timings because their work culture doesn't allow. We have shift jobs. The parents, especially in Gurgaon, I can give an example, that they are in corporates where their working hours are US shifts. So they get very, very less time even to sit and eat with their children. So I feel that this bonding, their connect, how they are learning, the happiness factor, for example, is the most important for this, the upcoming schools now. They should be able to engage the children. First of all, the child should leave everything and come to school is the first motto that we have. They should be very, very happy to come. I think that should be the motto for every school, which I feel, even not for the pre-primary years, even for the elder kids, that every child should look forward for meeting. Because I remember in my time that we were more, schools, when we talk about these pre-primary years, they still, the parents are the, the factors that they are more, asking the child to go to school. But when it comes to the teenager years, it's the friends that the children look forward for. So I think that should be the spirit, even in the schools. I can vouch that yes, discipline is so important, but then you can, talking time, discussing, communicating time. I think all schools should have that period as well, so that children should be able to speak up whatever they are wanting to. Because if the thing and their thoughts are within themselves, I think that's the point that that
even
develops.
even rightly said, even in our times you used to read theory or the textbook, and we used to solve the question paper. But when we are talking about life, as you are talking about, in life we don't get the question paper.
Yes,
We get the problem that we need to solve, which you are talking about, that right now you are teaching how to solve that problems, how to be ready for the real life. That is what exactly come in the life. We don't get any situation like this is the question and we need to solve. We get the problem and we need to find the solution.
correct. So that's
Yeah.
how it is, yeah.
So do you think, ma'am, like let's suppose, like you are correctly said that you are, preparing the children. So do you think right now you are, fully prepared the children for the upcoming life?
See, as far as I know, I can just vouch for the schools that we have here. We are definitely building a lot of confidence. I think that's something which is very important in our times. We didn't get the exposure. In our schools, there used to be only one or two people who used to get up on the stage. So here in our school, we are giving each and every child. For example, it's just a very small thing that, speaking up on the mic. I think I did not get any opportunity till the time, there were maybe one or two opportunities that I got in my school. So I think that's the first thing that we are imbibing, that we have a system of thought of the day. Right. So that thought is a roster created. It's a very, very planned thing that before the month start, the teachers, prepare those rosters so that each and every child, even if a child is not interested and if he's, speaking a bit, if he's a little hesitant, then also the teacher gets that child to the principal's office, and the child is able to just have a look and have a little experience of the mic, sitting on a chair, speaking up. And of course the class teacher do probe there's a probe, she can, the child can repeat, and then he gets an award for that. A simple award, maybe a star sticker, or sometimes these small things also makes a lot of difference to the child. And what I feel is that the children also remember what has happened in their lives, in their past lives. Because I do remember when I was in school, even the time that I remember that I used to, I took admission in the nursery class, how we were standing and what color frock that I was wearing. So these small things makes a lot of difference, and kids are also, to be treated in a very respected way, I feel, because they need to be addressed. If, let's say, any kind of communication, even if a teacher is giving to them, it has to be done in a full respect, because that thing remains in their mind. And whatever that we are doing in front, I feel that they learn from what behavior the teacher is showing in the class, how the teacher is walking to the time, and also how the teacher is dressed up, for that matter. So how she's talking, how she's able to control the class, how she's teaching the children, each and every child observes. And they might not be very fluent in speaking, but then whatever that they are observing, it is remaining in their memory, I feel. And so we also train a teacher, how, if they are dealing with kids, how they have to, talk to them. Even if there's some concern, it has to be dealt in a separate way. In fact, we are very particular once when the child is also in the PTM, we somehow forgets, parents are also speaking, teachers are also speaking about the child, but then poor child, he's also observing what is happening around. Even for that sake, the parents, when we are talking about parents teacher meeting, when the parents also are at their home fronts, it is very important how the parent is discussing about the school. Remember that, the whatever that they're discussing, the child is hearing. And I feel why, things like this are happening, that, teachers somehow are losing their respect. In our times, they used to be, the teachers, when they used to come, and somehow I feel now that respect, and I think that's the main reason that people are not into the teaching, professions now. They feel that they are, they've been working, they've been after school hour, they have to prepare a lot of things. So I feel that's happening because of the whole environment around the children. Maybe the parent might discuss something negative about the teacher at home, and the child is keeping that in their mind, and then they are also, behaving in a specific type of behavior. So I think that also has to be done from the parents and not only a school's responsibility. So I feel
Definitely.
that everything has to be, if there's a concern, it has to be in isolation when the child is not there, and it goes in a general way also. Let's say if I talk about a parent relationship also. So I feel that, the parents, mother and father, if also that they're discussing, it has to be, if it's a discussion where the child is not required to be there, I think it has to be in an isolation. So I think parent counseling is also so very important if we are talking about children, because it's not only the school's responsibility to develop the behavior and personality of a child, it's the overall environment that we are putting a child in.
And that's one of the powerful point you shared, I must say, ma'am. And ma'am, let's suppose we talk about your school, as you said that you are providing such kind of facility. This question is from the parent perspective. I'm also a parent. For example, after 1 year or 2 year, I want to, I'm looking for some play school or something like that. So let's suppose I visit 2, 3 schools. So how I can differentiate? Okay, this is the school where actual learning is happening as per what we are talking about. For example, I can say straightforward. For example, in your school also, let's suppose as a principal, as a founder, how you can, say that directly when you jump into any classroom, that you can say, oh, here experiential learning is happening and here theory class are happening. So how we can, differentiate?
See, I'll say that, hi, so kids are all around me right now. So we also have, a play zone.
Hmm.
I think play is a very, very important part of our, curriculum. And especially when we are dealing with the pre-primary years, play is a part and parcel of their life. Kids enjoy playing, and what they're learning is only through play. For example, a child, sitting here. I can just give you that example. This child is, sitting, she's just sitting here, and I hope you can see her. She's playing with a magnetic sand. So this child is enjoying the play, but here at the same time she's learning a lot of things. One, she's developing the fine motor skills. The other, she's able to engage herself. She's focused. She's learning to be patient enough to give turns if there are multiple kids here. She's able to identify the colors, shapes, and of course the kind of if let's say we are doing a fruits concept, we have all these the names and these the molds of the fruits which are there. So here by playing we are able to give them that concept. And believe you me, when the parents are visiting any school, they have already visited 10 schools before visiting, and then they take a decision. These parents these days, they are very much alert on what is happening around. They are very much alert on the kind of schools that they are looking forward for. And of course the parent referral, they are talking to each other, they are much more connected. You can see social media, they are asking very openly the questions about the school. So I think it's the word of mouth which is the most important thing for us. Also, it's the parent, how they are experiencing, how their reviews are for each and every parent, because we are not doing any branding. For example, in our school, we don't do any signages. Or you see that there are a lot of schools where you have the boards. When you go across the roads, you will find that there are a lot of roads, you have the signages there. Here we don't do that. Here it is more of the word of mouth, because if the parent has experience, he has as I told about we are talking about the experiential learning. Even the parents are experiencing what is happening with their child in school, and those are the brand ambassadors that we have. They are the ones who are talking very good about it to the other parent. So I think that experience makes a lot of difference to us. So each and every day we plan our activities very well. And as you told me, there are no certain areas that we have, this is a demarcation of experiential, this is for theory. It is not like that. It is everywhere, even in the classrooms. When we are talking about experiential learning, we are telling them everything through the experience. For example, let's say today we were teaching them. So we have a summer camp operating right now, and we were supposed to tell them about the airport. So how in the airport the child comes, there's a passport. So the language development is happening. We issued the passport. Then they have to go to the boarding part. Then there's a security alert. Then they have to sit in a flight and they have to wear the seat belt. So all that concept was been told through the experiential. We had the whole school, which was, turned into an airport kind of a scenario. So whatever concept that we are doing, for example, day before yesterday there was the Australia. We were telling them that we are taking you to this particular country, and then we had told them they are kangaroos. So we did a kangaroo race with them. We told them that there are koalas there. So we did a yoga time with koala. So at least they will be able to, recall the memories that they have created. And this kind of concept learning, they would not be able to forget any time of the year. Because we could have done it easily, through the projectors. We have the projector enabled classrooms also. We could have told them, there's a movie on the airport where the, parents are visiting. So here it's a different concept. We have to give them the experience. They were all the passengers today, ready to board the flight, and so they were very excited to come. And so this is how things are happening. Thought of the day. So we have also a STEAM lab, for example. STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, art, and maths. For example, if you're telling them a concept of heavy and light, we have a beam balance. It's for child to know what is heavy and what is light. So here, it's instead of the teacher telling them, it is the children who are discovering the things on their own. So I think that's the best way, because that will be learning forever.
That's interesting, ma'am. And even I have never thought that way. So, and ma'am, what is the, if, continue with that question itself, what is the right age for any child to enter in the play school or preschool, you can say? At what age parents should introduce this? Because it's not about, they are, teaching them something. It's about, playing with the colleagues. Nowadays, as you're talking about, most of the families are nuclear family and parents are also having their corporate job. So a child don't get that exposure at the home. So what should be the, right age?
See, what I feel is I might be wrong because there are different schools which are having different age and there are different
Yes.
daycares also, and parents also sometimes I feel that they don't have a choice but to put their child in the school. So there are schools which are taking 6 months, but we did not because we need to be sure they are very small babies wherein they are not even settled. So here in our school we take 1.5 years, wherein at least they can sit, they can eat independently, they can start learning to eat, they can start talking. Because see, why there are a lot of speech related issues, why there are a lot of behavioral issues with the kids is because of the non exposure when we had the COVID times. Just after the COVID we opened our schools where we could see a lot of concerns with the children because they were all staying alone at home, right? So what I feel is that speech is very important. Some of them also missed out their speech because parents were both busy with their online work modes and there was nobody to talk to the child at that time. So I think speech, talking to each other is so very important. And here, when they are talking amongst the same age group, that makes a lot of difference because they are not learning with the teacher, they are not learning with the parent, they are only learning through the peers, is what we feel. So when it is 1.5 years children, though the strength is very small, we have all cushioned walls, all parameters of health hygiene are being taken into account because this is a very sensitive age wherein when they are moving out from their house, there are chances that they catch infections. So we need to be very sure that the cleanliness, the hygiene factors are fully maintained in school. The meals that they have been served are very very properly freshly cooked meals, which are very much under the observations that we are doing on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's very very important that 1.5 is what I feel, because then at that time the child is able to develop their speech, they talk to each other, they can be settled well without the parents, because for them I think when we distract them, when we show them multiple toys, they forget their parents. So that's I think is the ideal age. And then they start the diaper training, which is very very important, where the parents are unable to do it at home. Once when we develop that in the school, so it's not any particular kind of academics which is happening, it is all life skills. I feel for playgroup pre-nursery, more of life skills should be focused upon, where they are able to do their basic needs on their own independently. They should identify their bag, they should try to eat food on their own, they should tell the teacher that if they have to go to the washroom, and the most important thing is that they should be very happy without their parents. So those are the things that I feel. And then I mean, now because of the new education policy, we have the grade 1, which is 6 years above is a criteria. So we have mapped our school in a similar way, where we have the senior KG. After senior KG, the kids are moving to directly the grade 1 class, which is where the formal schools come into picture, and they are very very smoothly been able to transition. Because
So how this, let's suppose you're talking about 1.5 year,
yes,
right? So how this will, go ahead till 6?
so I'll tell you, 1.5 to 2.5 is the playgroup that we are taking. 2.5 to 3.5 we are taking for the pre-nursery class.
Okay.
Then we have the nursery class, which is 3.5 to 4.5. Then from 4.5 to 5.5 we have the KG class. So after KG, the child can go easily in a grade 1, because as far as their age is concerned, they are able to go to a grade 1 in 6 years above. In case if let's say the parent feels that the child has come for the first time, because not every parent will get their child admitted to the playgroup class. In case they feel that yes, my child is requires more attention, and he has skipped some years, probably in that time we can have a senior KG class, wherein we can take 4.5 to 5.5 in a senior KG class also, right? So there's no fixed thing if we talk about the age, because we believe that the development of the child at a particular what grade that we can give them is more important. He should be very very matched up with the group that he's with, aligned with. It should not be that demarcation of the age and the behavior, because a child might be 4 years, but maybe he might not be diaper trained at that age also. So we need to see what is the a particular observation of the child, and that is very important, because when the child comes for admission, the observation by the teacher, by the principal, is so very important, because then we can map how easy the transition is going to be in a particular grade, so that the child is comfortable.
That's true, ma'am. And
Yes.
thank you. Even I am learning a lot. I'm sure other who are going to listen, they will also learn and like have some new things, new perspective about things. And ma'am, as you are talking about, it is more than a child. It is about the teachers you are talking about, right?
Yes.
Because that is the foundation. Those are the foundation for that particular thing. So how you make sure that your teacher are well trained and whatever what your vision is, because they are the one who are going to implement it, right?
Correct.
So how you make sure that whatever your vision was, so that is going to be implemented in that way?
So, one very important thing that we see in a teacher when she joins is the attitude of the teacher. I feel that is very, very important. Even if you are B.Ed and NTT qualified, maybe somehow you feel that we feel the person is not of that, attitude that he's into on learning mode. I think then that teacher is of no, value to us. So it is very important for the teacher, first of all, to be very, very positive about things, and she should be able to physically do a lot of things, because pre-primary years requires a lot of physical, moving around, dancing, jumping around with the kids. So those are the two parameters that I feel first is very important for us. And then later on, we train them. So every day, for example, let's talk about the monthly rhymes. So in the morning only, we have a system that all teachers, they collect together and they practice the rhymes. They share their inputs. In fact, they love doing it, because they are, also, it's very, very off with the age that they are doing, but then somehow they enjoy doing this, because whatever that plan is there, they learn. Otherwise, if we give them as a work, they are also humans. I don't think so they are able to do that bit. So I feel
That's what I'm talking about. It is about the
yes,
mindset you are changing, because it's
correct,
not
correct,
about
correct.
the teachers only. It's about the complete mindset you're talking about, and that
Absolutely.
mindset. Once that mindset will be changed, of course, the things will be changed.
So first thing we see is the teacher is very positive. She's open to learning, and then we train them. And training is not restricted to a particular day or thing. It is daily training. If let's say we are doing a concept today, so we have a demo run for that okay, this person is going to be here, so that it's smooth. See, planning for any school, any event that you do, even if it's a minute of all events, it is very, very important. And training them, even if the teacher is from any other school, even if she's from any other, she's been able to be experienced one for 8 years or 10 years, training as per our system is so very important, I feel, because for anything that we devise, let's say if let's say for example today we had the magic cave activities, so how they are going to be introducing everything is very, very important. Because see, for even a thought, we have to have a thought. What thought is what the child is have to speak. So for the I think detailing of the for everything in academics and activities by the head, and training them is very, very important, because they need a guidance. They might have their viewpoint, so it is not that it's one way communication. I feel that with the young generation coming into picture, the trends and the format of education and teaching should also change. We hire the young teachers because they have fresh minds, they have new ideas and concepts. So we are very open. In fact, we are open to our parents also, in case our parents wish to conduct any workshop in the school, if she wishes to train the teachers. So because it has to be a collaboration, it's not only a school, and we are very open to any kind of ideas which come our way. The teachers, when they give us their inputs, especially the young ones, it's something which is very good, and we take it, we imbibe it. And when then we have those teachers, they are training the others. So it is learning and teaching which is ongoing, that is a most important factor for the success of any school, and the school needs to be very open for that. It should not be that we have a defined curriculum, this is what the logbook says, this is what your teacher's diary says. It should not be restricted, because new things are coming in, the generation is new. We can't have the old systems running in our schools. It has to be changed now and then. It should not be, even for that matter, if there's a last year's planners that we have, we change it every year, because we need to add new concepts concepts, new ideas, and it cannot be one person's job. It has to be, they are all getting so much exposure of the media these days, social media. They are all learning, and they all have great ideas. And in fact, the staff also appreciates. I think appreciation of staff is so very important. For that matter, we also have every month, as one day dedicated as a staff appreciation day, where we give them awards. So
that is the most priceless thing you can say. Every human being needs that appreciation, and that is very costly nowadays.
correct.
So great.
So see, it is
Definitely.
not work. When they are working, we tell them that it is not 8 to 3 kind of a job that you're doing. It has to be, you should also enjoying teaching. It should not be that they are just coming in with their bags and baggages and with their pressures, and then they are been taken in a classroom. It should not be like that. I mean, I think for every individual, when they pick up a job, it's so very important to enjoy that job. I enjoy my job, and I enjoy I enjoy visiting the classes, because you get to see a lot of things from them. You get to
I
learn
can,
from
but I can also feel that yes, you are enjoying it.
because
That
it's so
vibe I'm getting.
interesting. Yeah. Because you get good ideas, new concepts.
Definitely, ma'am. I agree with that.
So,
And ma'am,
it
many
was,
of the
it was so
many
funny
of the
today. Yeah, I'll just tell you a joke. I'm so sorry if I'm taking in more
no,
time,
no,
because,
no, no, no.
these small kids, 1.5 years, 2 years, they were standing with their passports today. And then, I kind of asked them, okay, where are you going to with the passport? So there were two girls who were saying, okay, we are going to Goa. And there was this third child who said, I'm going to Bua. Because he couldn't understand what is Goa. Maybe that vocabulary is not built in with him. So it is so much fun to hear from them, and I think that makes us going. So I think that positive environment and that happiness factor is so very important, not only for kids but also with the workers, I feel.
Yes, definitely, ma'am. And by many of the foreigner schools, I saw on the social media also, and I visited as well. So if we talk about the developed countries like China, they have maker space from the preschool itself. But in India, after this NEP 20, now this culture is coming, and that is also from third to fourth grade itself. Or majorly, you can say 80% is it is from sixth grade onwards. But the foundation which you are talking about, that is not from sixth grade. The foundation is in the early years. So what about this kind of maker space concept in the early classroom?
So I think it is very important. See, when we are talking about a grade 6 child, first of all, the child happiness factor, as I told you, it has to be imbibed from the early years, because somehow I feel that the child finds it very boring to go to school. They don't want to get up in the morning. So I think that is something very, very important. Second is the confidence. Somehow I feel that is so very important that we imbibe from the early years, because that goes in a long run. When we talk about grade 6, middle school, and the higher school, they have a lot of areas that they have to give a presentation. There are debates, there are declamations happening now, there are TEDx talks also happening around. So I think confidence is something very important, and most important is also doing things independently. I feel that gone is a time when they are depending on parents, that they have to pack their bags. I think they are now kids are also cooking their own meals. I see a lot of young children doing that. So I think that that concept has to be there right from the beginning, that they know everything. So that knowledge has to be there. That is so very important. That let's say when we do in the preschools also, we do that fire free cooking. So here we understand what are the choices that we are giving, and what is it that the child is interested to do. So that's what I feel, that grades 3 above, they have a club system. But I think before these years, it is so very important to give them an exposure of everything, make it art, and it has to be some sport activity, some visual art, some fine motor skills. So giving an exposure, I think that should be the motto of every preschool. Exposure of clay modeling, painting, dancing, music, sports, just a little bit of that. Because I think then the child, it's too early for primary school to identify a particular hobby of a child. But I think grade 3 above, if we have exposed them to all these activities, I think the child should be able to make a choice of what his likings are, which is so very important to make his choice maybe in the furthermore classes.
Definitely, ma'am. And you answered very correctly. Now let's move to rapid fire. After that, one last question.
Okay.
So without thinking, you need to answer. Let's start with
Yes.
marks or mindset?
Mindset, of course.
Knowledge or application?
Application, for sure.
Textbook or experience?
Experience.
Discipline or curiosity?
Curiosity, of course.
Okay. And one skill every child should develop.
I think that skill should be the skill of socio-emotional development, because that's something which is missing these days. They should be able to connect. They should be able to discuss their, the stress, and they should be very happy.
And if you had to recommend one school leader or educators whose voice you believe more people should hear, who would that be?
One leader, they should all, I think Gandhiji, because I think there's so much stress around. If you're talking about a school leader or a
I'm talking about the school leader.
school
Who can
leader,
add value?
so I think Ma'am Aditi Mishra, who's a DPS 45 principal, she's outgoing, outstanding principal, wherein there's a strength of 6,000. I wonder how they are able to develop such, because of the systems that she's developed. I think I would look forward, and because also that I'm a parent, my daughter was a pass out from DPS 45, so I feel that the kind of skills that she's developed, the kind of confidence that she's developed, and so I would look forward for Ma'am Aditi Mishra. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. And now let's close it with the last question. If a parent watching this episode and remember only one thing about experiential learning, what would you want that message to? In
So I
very
think,
layman.
yeah. So parents also at home, I think they should, rather than a textbook, they should give them an exposure. Even if the child is, doing his own thing, I think the choice of the child. I think they should also listen. Listening is so very important. If the child has some passion about maybe playing or a Lego, maybe, I think they should not stop. I think that should be all parents should understand that even if the child has he's sitting there and doing some activity, and of course trust has to be there. Every parent should trust their children that they will be definitely moving up and becoming very fine human beings. I think that's very important, that the trust in the child is very important, and give them an exposure. Don't doubt whatever that they are doing is, I'm sure under your guidance, they have your genes. So they are anyways fine humans. So I think that is something which is very important. I feel parents should trust the child. They should give them an exposure. Stopping discipline is of course very important, but then they should know what the child wants to do. I think that is somewhere a miss, because they should be able to talk and then develop that what my child wants. That's very important.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving that message. And I myself have learned a lot from this episode. I'm sure, like other will also learn who are going to watch this. So thank you so much for sharing
Thank you.
your
Such a
insights and
pleasure to have you
experience with
here.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.